Hello, everybody. As I said, I was going to record this video on the annotated bibliography and paper proposal assignment. So let me point you again to chapter 9.3 in the writer's loop. This is going to be very important information. First of all, it starts out summarize sources to use in your writing. And the reason they have this section on summarizing and what to expect within a summary is that you are actually going to be using summarizing in your annotated bibliography. So the annotated bibliography is different than your works cited, and it's not going to be attached to your final paper. However, there are some similarities. So the annotated bibliography has two parts. The first part is, and I'll come down to the understand section that I referred to before. The first part is the citation of the source that you are annotating. So you'll see here that we have this citation, and it's from Lawrence down to the web address. And notice that it looks a certain way. With MLA citations, when we are doing the works cited page or doing an annotated bibliography, we have what is called a hanging indent. And I will post a short, I believe I have a short video on how to actually do this. That I recorded for another course, but it will be applicable here. But you start with the citation, and it looks like this. And you will have learned how to do citations in correct MLA style in chapter 9.2 of the writer's loop. Then following that, you have a paragraph summarizing the information from this source. So let me take you to the annotated bibliography graphic organizer, because I think this is helpful for students to see what all they need to include in their annotated bibliography or in their annotation. So as I said, you start with the citation first, and you can use this worksheet for all of your sources if you want to, or you can just follow the general guidelines. So you start with your citations, okay? It says here, do not rely on the computer to provide a correct citation. I'll talk about that in a minute. I did provide you a link to the citation machine last week in week 6, and I spoke a little bit about how to use citation generators. Often they are very helpful, but sometimes you have to go in and edit some of the information if it's not there. Sometimes it picks it up and sometimes it doesn't. And then your annotation starts, you will indent and then start writing. So you should have about 2 to 3 sentences of a summary telling what the main idea is, what the author's argument is, what the research question might be. Spend a couple of sentences on that. Then you will assess the source. So take about 3 to 4 sentences explaining why it's a reliable source and see the rubric. I believe I posted this handout. I will double check and I may repost it again to evaluate if that source is reliable. So hopefully the idea behind the source evaluation worksheet is to set the groundwork for the annotated bibliography. So hopefully, excuse me, hopefully you've already have found some sources that you want to use and that you've thought a little bit about them, that you have analyzed their credibility, so on and so forth, and then you're going to say a little bit more about it in the annotation. Lastly, in your annotation, you will do a reflection of 1 to 3 sentences, why you're going to use the resource, how does it connect to your research. That's a misprint there, a typo. Sorry about that. How does it connect to your research? and then combine all the parts for a complete and perfect annotation. So what I don't want to see is you filling out 8 of these worksheets and uploading them as the assignment. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pause my recording and locate an annotated bibliography. Okay, so I located an annotated bibliography that I did several years ago in graduate school, and I want to share that with you so you see what an actual annotated bibliography looks like with more than one source. We've been showing you, examples with just one source, but here is an actual paper with several sources. So the thing to note is that your annotated bibliography is alphabetical, first of all. And I actually have too much spacing between my citations and my annotation, but you'll see how it looks. So you have your citation, then a paragraph of annotation, followed by another citation, which is using the hanging indent, followed by another paragraph, so on and so forth. And it's all alphabetical. So you see what that looks like. And some of them can be quite lengthy, especially if you are citing something from a website. Sometimes they have really long names and, this one's quite lengthy. This one also, if you have one that's coming up through one of those databases that you use in Academic Search Complete, because you're not just quoting the article, but also the publication where it was found, as well as the database where it is located. So there's lots of things that you need to keep in mind, which is why, and I'll stop sharing that, which is why it's important to know how to use the citation generators, but also how to use them correctly. And so we have that in the writer's loop. Chapter 9.2 will explain all the different elements that you need to include in a citation. Now, I want you to keep in mind that you do not have to have this perfect. I'm not going to take points off because you put a comma where a period should have been, or you forgot to leave something out in your citation. I want you to get the general idea. This is practice for you. None of us have it perfect, and none of us have this stuff memorized. I am constantly going to my MLA handbook. I'm going to the Purdue OWL website to double check to make sure that my citations are correct. I do not have it memorized. I have a general idea of the things that need to go into it and essentially what order they need to be in, but I could not cite something perfectly right off the top of my mind. My brain just doesn't have space for that, and I'm sure your brains don't either. So I don't expect you to have it memorized. I don't expect you to have it perfect, but at least give it a valiant effort. So let me go back to our I was going to say Blackboard, back to our Canvas page. And there was the assignment that I want to go over with you. So I'll look at the handout instead of the actual assignment. So you have a paper proposal and annotated bibliography, and this really is a lot of work, and it's so important that you don't get behind on other assignments. So first you will have a paper proposal, and this is, you kind of did something like this when you chose your paper topic and you wrote your research questions in week 5. So what you're going to do now is choose one of those questions that you really want to talk about, choose that, use it as your topic, and write a 1-page proposal. So your proposal is going to have a working title, and in the first paragraph, you'll describe your topic, why you're interested in it, who else might be interested in it, and why you are so invested in that topic that you want to research it, and finally end your paragraph with the research question that you have chosen. In the second paragraph, describe what your argument is going to be. What stance do you indeed intend to take on this topic? And then the last paragraph, you'll describe why you believe the way you do about the topic, and then list 4 to 5 reasons or claims which you will make in support of your argument. Then attached to your paper proposal will be an annotated bibliography of 8 sources. And I know that seems like a lot. It's more than you'll be required to use in your final research paper. But there's a reason that we do it that way. We have you examine more sources than you need, because often when we're in the process of writing our research argument, we realize that the source that we thought was going to be perfect is no longer suitable for the topic or for the stance. And so this hopefully avoids you having to do a mad scramble of finding another source that's appropriate for your writing purposes. So yeah, 8 sources, 2 of them should be scholarly, and hopefully the others are at least relevant and credible. And for each source, as I said, you'll have the proper MLA citation and a single-spaced annotation or summary of the work. And here again, there is another example citation and annotation. So I think that is it. If you have any questions regarding any of the assignments, but especially regarding the paper proposal and locating suitable sources, please don't hesitate to send me an email and I will try to help you out. And again, you can always reach out to the librarians. If you click on this and you go back to, well, let's see, Langsam Library. Oh, these are guides. You just go to the, never mind. That's not pulling things up the way I wanted it to. But you can find how to, oh, I know where it is. So I had to pause my recording there because I couldn't find the links that I wanted to. But now I have found them. So if you want to get in touch with one of the librarians at UC main campus at Langsam Library, here are the people you can reach out to if you are on campus. Or if you are a Claremont student, you can reach out to Kathy Liddell, send her an email, or you could even schedule an appointment with her to get more help on locating your research sources. Okay, so those are the 2 things that that I couldn't find for a moment and then needed to pause and regroup. So good luck with this assignment and try not to pull your hair out. And if for some reason it's just taking you a lot longer than you thought it would to locate those sources and to get your things together, please reach out to me. I can definitely grant an extension. I know that this is a hard assignment. It's a different way of thinking and a different way of researching. So I want you to take your time and to do it well, but I also don't want you to get so far behind that, you're just going crazy. Your mental health is important too. So that said, I will say adieu. Bye-bye.